Well, the courthouse clock is saying 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call this November meeting of the Blount County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Roger, if you'd call the roll, please.
Stan Hedrick. Bruce Damrow.
Here.
Larry Chesney. Here. Rob Walker.
Here.
Brian King. Here.
If there's no discussion, there's our motion to approve last month's meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye. Yes.
All two.
Yes, one regular meeting and one call meeting. Tonight, we have one special exception and 2 variance requests. The first special exception, or the only special exception, is the family commercial enterprise on Chilhowie View Drive.
This request is for a special exception at 602 Chilhowie View Road. The property is identified on tax map 70, part of parcel 126, and is zoned R1. The applicant is requesting a family commercial enterprise to move his existing fence business to his home. The family commercial enterprises are permitted as special exception to R1 zone. Section 7.10C lists the uses that may be approved as a family commercial enterprise, and I highlighted the uses carpentry as the closest match to this request. There are several similar service-related uses that are of the same nature, but generally speaking, I believe the carpentry is the closest match. The applicant plans on having a small home office with various basic office equipment and the use of a portion of the existing barn to store equipment. The applicant plans on ordering supplies for each individual job and will not store large amounts of extra material. The property was recently divided by will. I've included the documents and corresponding survey that shows the boundaries that were created by the will. This use will be established on 5 acres shown on the survey, and the surrounding property is the remainder of the family farm. Buffering this use will not be required because the only abutting property within view is a commercially used auto repairs business. And then I included the sections 9.2 and then the 7.10 in there for your review.
Is there anyone here in favor of this special exception that'd like to speak? Would you mind coming up to the podium so we can hear you?
I'm Terry Warwick. Never done this before, so I really don't know what I'm doing, but he's moving the business out to the farm because we closed the business in town, and just trying to make it easier on everybody there, you know, to where we can have it at the house and in the existing barn, which there's nothing in now. It's a metal barn. I'm going to store what little bit of supplies out back. There's a barn and then a covered shed, so nothing will even be visible actually from anywhere except the back side of the farm. So.
Is that all you have? Okay, we might have some questions for you in a minute. Is there anyone in opposition who would like to speak? Hearing none, we'll open up the floor to discussion from the board.
As you face your house, there's 2 garages or barns to the left.
Yes, sir.
And what looks like they have a roof on it?
Well, that's not, it's the barn, and then that's the shed that's attached, and the storm blew that roof off.
The one you're going to use is the one with the roof on it?
Yes, sir. That big metal barn. Yes, sir.
There be excessive traffic in there?
No, sir. There'll be one work truck, and then just a delivery truck on occasion. Shouldn't be, you know. I mean, the personal vehicles and one fence truck. There's 3. There'll be 3 on the crew. They all ride in one truck.
You going to keep your security gate in place?
Yes, sir. Yes, because there won't be, you know, that much in and out, so there's no need in.
Any other discussion? a second?
Second.
Stan Hedrick? Yes. Bruce Damrow?
Yes.
Larry Chesney? Yes. Rob Walker?
Yes.
Brian King?
Motion approved.
Thanks, Jerry.
Next item tonight is a variance request for a side setback on Franklin Hill Drive or Boulevard.
Give me just a second.
Okay.
Okay. This request is from the side setback requirements at 4147 Franklin Hill Boulevard. The property is identified on tax map 38D, Group B, parcel 13. Property is zoned R1 with a required setback of 30 feet. That should be 10 feet for side setback. The applicant is requesting a variance of 5 feet in order to place a detached garage at the end of the driveway, his existing driveway as it is. The applicant is asking for this variance in order to be able to build a two-car garage. I've looked at the subdivision plat, and it has 5 feet utility easements established along the side property lines, but does not indicate a building setback. Without an established side setback, our standards apply. The applicant is requesting this variance prior to obtaining a building permit. It basically comes down, if he doesn't get it, it'd go from he could only get a one-car garage in there.
So his building is how far from the property line?
5 feet,
5 feet total.
correct.
Is there anyone here in favor of this variance that'd like to speak?
Well, it's my property.
Is there anything you'd like to add to what Roger just told us?
There's 33 feet from the corner of my house to the,
Would you mind coming up to the,
as I was saying, there's like 33 feet. Jim Burnside. I work at Denso, and I've been living in Blount County since '91. And in this certain residence, I've been here since '98. And my neighbor, Miss Liz, is here. She can attest to what I'm talking about. There's 33 feet from the end of the house to the property line. With a 10 feet setback, I couldn't build the two-car garage that I would like to build. But with a 5-foot setback, I could build a standard size two-car garage. So that's the reason I'm here talking to you gentlemen.
What's the dimension between the concrete shown on your drawing to the property line?
The concrete,
Your driveway, where you have the car parked?
right now, that's approximately 4 feet right there from the concrete to the property line. Yes, it's going to be comparable to what I have on the outside of my house now, so it won't be no, I'll go with the same thing that I've got on my house. And the two-car garage will not be a dwelling above, it'll just be a two-car garage.
any other questions from the board?
Roger, on the other buildings in that subdivision, that building is 5 feet.
If you, there's some that are close. Just with that overview that I showed you there, I didn't have time to measure them all, but even the next door property, if you're at the street, the one next to it is probably pretty close. There's some that are within 10 feet, closer than 10 feet, but I don't know about 5 feet.
But the 5 feet would still have counting the utility easement?
Yes, they do have the utility easement down the sides all interior property lines. That's noted on the plat.
But this does not violate that.
This would not, no, if he kept the 5 feet,
But there's no subdivision setbacks.
no.
We would be violating.
If they had specified that 5 feet as a setback instead of an easement, we could recognize that without him having to come do this.
If you look at some of those other houses in that picture, they don't look like they're much more than 5 feet at best. Look at that building right there.
Before we proceed any further, is anybody in opposition that would like to speak? Okay.
It's city utilities.
If you had to get a vehicle in the back of the house, how would you do that?
I have a deck that's out there that I can come through. I'm setting it back off from the house past the deck area, which is about 12 foot.
So you'll drive between the garage and the deck? to get
If I had to get back, I can also go around the other side of the house, but it's tight, but I can get through there.
Any other discussion from the board? Chair will entertain a motion.
I move, we approve.
Second.
Stan Hedrick? Bruce Damrow?
Yes.
Larry Chesney?
Yes.
Rob Walker?
Yes.
Ron King?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
The second item on our agenda tonight has been pulled, so we'll move on to the third one for a front setback requirement on Summerfield Drive.
So the city home has been pulled.
The second one has.
Yes, the one on Scenic Point was pulled by the applicant. I've got a better picture for you guys as far as this one. I'm gonna just, have Ron pass those down. Yes, this is Summerfield Drive. This request is for variance from the front setback requirements at 1138 Summerfield Drive. The property is identified on tax map 66M, Group C, Parcel 4, and is zoned R1 with a required setback of 30 feet. The applicant is requesting a variance of 10 or 12 feet. I'm gonna go with the 10 feet in order to place a new home on this lot. The main body of the house will meet the setbacks, but their plans have a drive-through carport on the front that would extend 10 or 12 feet. But the drawing I just handed out to you shows that they'll just need 10 feet of relief. The claimed hardships are that this is a corner lot with 2 front setback requirements, the slope of the property, and a limited location for the septic system. On this particular lot, when Gary Ferguson was approving the subdivision lots, that hashed area that you see, that was hashed because that's the only place on the lot that they could put the drain field. So they don't want to get back into that with the house. Which, you know, pushing it back, if you pushed it back too far, you'd be compromising some of that. And that's indicated. That's actually a blown up picture of the plat with the applicant's rendering of what the home will look like.
Is there anyone here in favor of this variance who'd like to speak? Yes, if you can come to the podium, please.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Michael Howe. I am the hopeful purchaser of that lot and builder. My wife Deborah and Connor and my boy Cody with us. Originally, we had designed this house without the front portico nor circular driveway. And James Gregory, who's the landowner, also the Architectural Reviews Committee, wanted us to put, because we designed this house to have the garage on the side, 2-car, which would be underneath the house as part of the basement. He said that he would prefer us to put a portico and a round driveway on the front of the house. The financial expense to do that was absorbed by me. Problem is, once we got to the zoning part of it, we realized that if we could not push this house back because of those field lines. Our only choice at this point to respect that 30-foot setback would be drive the house down the hill, and then I'm looking at about another $20,000 in excavating to bring soil in to bring the house back up to level. So I had spoken to James Gregory before I came here. He agreed to 10 foot, so it's not 12, it's only 10 feet. That'll keep the house property back 32 feet from that setback, but it allows me to put that portico on without driving the house down the hill to keep away from the field lines. That's where we are.
Thank you. Is anyone in opposition to this? Okay, we'll open. Are you? Oh, you're in favor? Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add?
My name's Chris Marshall. I'm reside at 1205 Dakota Drive, directly across the street. I see no problem at all with what he's asking for. I think it's completely reasonable, considering the field area that he has to deal with there and the extra cost he'd have if he moved it down. So I'm completely in favor of it. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to make one point too. I talked with Mr. Gregory, and he still owns the majority of the lots in there, I believe, or in this particular phase of the subdivision. And he's taking care of the private deed restrictions as far as the variance from that end. It doesn't have anything to do with us, but I know a lot of times the board wants to know what the subdivision, so he said that he was handling that from the developer's standpoint on the private deed restrictions.
We would not be interfering with that at all.
Correct.
The carport in the front,
Mhm.
still going to be 20 feet from the road.
That is correct. The end of the carport will be 20 feet, and then the house itself will start at 32.
Is that your main garage, or you still have cars driving in from the other of the end of the house into the basement?
We're still going to have a two-car garage basement drive-in from the other side of the road. Purely the circular driveway and the portico is at the request of James.
That's not your main garage.
No, it is not.
Forecourt in the front is not your main garage.
Correct.
What's the structure that's sitting on the property next to 1126?
Is that the one, the little down at the very bottom?
Yeah.
I guess it's a water pumping station.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
pump station.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion from the board? Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Stan Hedrick,
Yes.
Bruce Damrow,
Yes.
Larry Chesney, Rob Walker,
Yes.
Brian King.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Gentlemen, you rock.
Roger, is there any other business tonight?
I think that's got it. I just want to remind everybody that has training hours lacking, Stan and Rob, it's November. John has had his hip surgery, and he was actually at work today, so he's doing good. So well, we need to work it out and kind of coordinate it with him, because he's kind of tight with his DVDs. Yes, I will. I'll see what times are available. And then,
Excuse me, do I have a question?
Yes.
yes,
The scenic point issue, if he reapplies, will he have to put up a new sign?
yes, that will go back up if he,
So as it stands now, it's totally dropped.
well, not totally dry. He pulled it from this meeting. He may put it back on for next month. So,
Okay, but he has to put up another sign saying that the.
well, he don't, I do. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, did you do that? sign?
yes, yeah.
So are you?
But I don't mind coming down there and putting a sign up. I love it down there.
Okay, well, I'm just curious, are you like the variance committee of the county commission? Is that what your job is?
The BZA is appointed by the county commission to handle zoning variance requests.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's your expertise.
Yeah, we don't do any, I know that you guys have got, I know that you guys have got private deed restriction issues going on with him, so we don't have any say-so in those.
Right, but the only thing I wondered is, does that carry a weight with when you make a decision?
It does, but it really is not supposed to. I mean, the BZA don't like to go against private deed restrictions, but we can't make a motion based on private deed restrictions.
Well, you know, and the only reason I'm asking, this is not on the record, I'm hoping.
No.
The only reason I'm asking is that we're on the board, and as being on the board, it's our job to uphold our restrictions.
Correct.
You know,
Yes.
and that's the reason we're here, because that's our job.
Yeah.
Even though most of the board.
He could be, I mean, to be honest with you, our setbacks are just 10 feet.
I know.
And you guys have got
We
12
got
and a
12.
half.
12 and a half.
So he could be fine with the county and still be going against your regs.
And if he wanted to come to the 10 feet, I don't know that we'd have that much problem, except it would be against our restrictions at that point.
Then what would you do?
You know,
We have people who, you don't know what a can of worms is.
I got a pretty good idea.
Well,
You know-
the problem is, once you make an exception, you set a precedent.
For the
Once you
rest
set
of
a
the
precedent,
community.
you can't go against it.
It's not our problem. It's not our problem if we're meeting hours, right?
Right. But the power of those.
Yeah, our real concern at this point is whether there'll be another sign.
so we'll have an opportunity to come and.
Yes,
and-
there will be,
and do our job too.
And
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
required to get them out 5 days prior to the meeting, but I try to get at least 10,
Yeah.
is what I shoot for.
What would you do if we approved 10 foot and yours is 12 foot and he went ahead and built on 10 foot?
Well, we would go get a,
We'd get an attorney.
prevent him from building.
He's already
right.
started talking.
And surely he wouldn't do that, no one ever happened.
You know,
And he has like 30 feet on the other side of the property.
we could recommend a good architect for it.
So let me make sure we understand each other. We could approve 10-foot setback.
Oh, well, you all don't have to approve that. That's what the required
That's
setback
already
is.
there in the county.
That's the county.
The
Yeah,
county
I
already
can-
has a 10-foot setback.
He's asking for a 7.5-foot setback.
Okay, but what he's asking for is to go within 10 feet of the property line.
No, he's asking to go within 7.5 feet of the property line.
Yes, he's wanting to break our setback requirement.
He's not only wanting to break ours.
Because we'd already told him he couldn't break out.
And
So he
you're-
went to, you break yours.
The question I'm trying to get across, if we approve it, they still have the right to say no.
That's correct.
Even if we approve it, it doesn't override yours.
Oh. Well,
Oh,
God bless you in America.
You need to make that clear to him because he thinks.
here does not mean an approval with
Okay, when,
two separate, completely separate.
well, we'll plan on being at that meeting, so that will be a point that will be brought up at that point, you know.
Definitely bring that up. That needs to be very clear.
Yeah, it needs to be very clear, because, you know, and that's why we're here, we're on that board, and it's our job to uphold the restrictions. Now, when I'm not on the board, I may want to come down here and have you drop some of them, but who's ever on the job should stop me, you know?
If you look at this house, who is the one you live to the right?
No, that's,
Pam Jones.
Pam Jones.
Or how close is his garage to the property line?
It's hard telling, because that was before the subdivision was developed. It's been there, it's the log house, it's been there since,
It looks pretty close.
It's pretty close, yeah.
but
it's-
it was
it's
there
just a-
before restrictions.
Basically, it's just a lean-to, sort of.
And it was there prior to the restrictions being set up. And once they're set up, you can't make them tear it down because the restrictions are in.
All I'm saying is, it doesn't look like what he's asking for is any closer than what his neighbor's existing garage is.
And the neighbor
You might
doesn't.
Look at that, because it looks like the existing neighbor is as close as this guy's going to go.
It probably, and it very well may be. But,
But there's a difference between, in our restrictions between dwellings and sheds and garages. Garage or a shed can be within 5 feet of the back property line, so.
And the restrictions
The back
were
property
new
line or the
the
side?
back property.
Back property,
2010.
yeah.
You know, they've been revised. and
Yeah,
so
we
far.
revised ours in 2010 and they're good for, until 2020. And there was no objection to them at that time.
There were a lot of people that
I filled a lot of phone calls, well, since the sign went up, to be honest, and, I hope that a lot of people got the word. I hate that you guys had to make it.
Oh, well, I wanted to come down, we wanted to come down and see what the procedure was. I've never been to one of these. I wanted to see what the procedure was.
Thank you for all your information.
And we thank you for your service too. Thank you, guys.